Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Haunt Talk, the podcast where we talk all things haunt. My name is Scott from Exploring Attractions.
And I am Rob from the Howling Hour.
And today we bring you Haunt Talk episode 6, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
We'll never, ever be able to pick up on the episodes. We just know that we film a lot.
Yes.
And like I did promise everybody, we are going to start filming a lot more frequently as haunt season starts to pick up, and here we are with another episode literally within a week.
We like to stay up on the news, and there was a lot of news that happened this past week.
Yeah, I mean, so much, all surrounding Horror Nights on the other coast, which we're not going to be able to attend, but we're still going to talk about it because there are some interesting announcements that could tie in a little bit to the Hollywood event. And then we also have Midsummer Scream news, and we also have a brand new trailer to react to as well.
Yeah, all of it. I'm excited. I'm excited. Like I said, haunt season's kicking in, and now we're getting all these announcements. And yeah, unfortunately, neither of us will be able to attend the East Coast, but we have some friends over there who are gonna give us their feedback and stuff. So I'm excited to see what they have going on over there.
Yeah, and after all, we like to provide variety here and still cover what you guys want to see.
Yes.
And who knows, maybe I'll take a last-minute spontaneous trip if the money is right. I was talking to Dylan today, and he was saying, like, if you go in the last week, it's typically, like, half the price. So I may look into that, but who knows? Because we'll talk about the lineup, but let's get into it. Let's
do it.
Let's first talk about since I feel like everybody's been like Horror Nights have been shoved down everyone's throat this past week. Let's talk about Midsummer Scream, because Midsummer Scream recently sent out a press release to everybody.
Yes.
And I'll let you go over so they sent out a press release basically talking about the panels and presentations that are confirmed as far as like the big haunts, like I guess you could say the big players in the haunt world here in Southern California. So I'll let you go over Saturdays real quick. What are Saturday's presentations?
Well, Saturday we have Dark Harbor, which is very cool. And also Fright Fest. We love Fright Fest. We all know I love Fright Fest. And the
What, are you saying that I don't?
No. I know you. I know you love Fright Fest. But I am a Fright Fest apologist. So there's that. And then also I'd like to say, I mean, and this is not like any kind of shade at all, because we know I love this place. But the little engine that could, Castle Dark's going to be there, so I'm really excited for them.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all on Saturday, July 27th. So you have Castle Dark, Queen Mary's, and Fright Fest, all on July 27th.
Both days are going to be like, we're going to be running from place to place to place.
Yeah, I think that this specific presentation schedule is going to be a lot more jam-packed than previous years, because Castle Dark hasn't had a presentation before, right? They've just had a booth there.
Yeah, they've always just, at least the times I've been going, they've only had a booth. So now they're doing a presentation, and I'm really excited for them.
I think it's a good sign for Castle Dark because of the fact that, like, if they're doing a presentation, that means they must be revealing something, and they're not just copying and pasting. Right.
And just based off how they kind of, because they had like a closing kind of ceremony for Castle Dark last year, the last day, and just based off of that, I feel like we kind of have a direction, but it was a big deal, because not only did they have like an opening media night, but then they had like a closing kind of media night. So that's not typically normal. So so I feel like they got some stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Castle Dark was a lot of fun. Yeah. We went last year. And I typically, I'll go every other year because I haven't been consistent with it. But from what I saw last year, I definitely want to try to at least make it out there once a year now, because it is a good event.
For sure.
It goes back to our last podcast, expectation versus reality type deal.
Right.
But we also have Fright Fest, which Fright Fest definitely unveiled some crazy stuff last year. Literally, I think everyone was in the Horror Nights line, and Fright Fest was just going nuts with the announcements.
Yeah.
And literally everybody was like, what? I mean, they unveiled The Conjuring and that Saw would be getting a maze at Fright Fest, so it was
Yep.
kind of nuts. So
Yeah,
if
for
if
sure.
it's anything like last year's, then it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I'm interested for Fright Fest. I'm interested to see if they're gonna pick up on another IP or get another IP,
Hmm.
or just what they got going on, maybe a different zone or something like that. But yeah, for sure. Last year, Fright Fest, I felt like they when you walked out, there was a buzz. Definitely with their announcement of Saw and The Conjuring, and more specifically for me, The
Yeah,
Conjuring, because I was just like what are they gonna do? Like
yeah.
that looks
We've never seen
insane.
The Conjuring before. Yeah,
Yeah, so
other than
I was excited.
Warner Brothers.
Right,
You know,
right.
which that was like a very very tiny. It wasn't even a maze. It was like like a walkthrough,
Yeah.
uh, kind of like museum type deal. But also, you have Queen Mary, which
Right.
Queen Mary I feel like is the most anticipated for me, just because it is the returning event that
Yes.
nobody knows what to expect. We kind of have an idea of like they're bringing icons and stuff like that, but as far as like the actual details, nobody knows what to expect. So Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, The Spirits Rise will also be taking place on Saturday as well.
Yeah. Like you're saying, I mean they've made, I think, a couple announcements since they
Hmm.
had their like we're coming back announcement, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to announce. Also, high on my anticipation list is Dark Harbor, just because it was gone, now it's back,
Hmm.
and what we really, I mean, with the exception of, I think, like the ringmaster kind of announcement, or just reveal, we don't really haven't got too much from Dark Harbor, so it being back, I feel like there's gonna be a buzz around that panel as well.
I think with the current tease that they've been doing of like, oh, what icon is next? This and
Yeah,
this and this.
yeah,
I think their idea right now is to reveal icons leading up to the presentation, and then probably at the presentation they'll reveal the brand new one that they've been
right,
teasing.
right,
That's
yeah.
my guess, just based on what
And
they've been doing.
oh no, and I think that's a very solid guess, just because I feel
Hmm.
like the same thing. It's like they're gonna give us what we know and what we've seen before, and then obviously
Right.
at Midsummer they want to surprise us and hit us with a surprise, a banger. So they're gonna then
Yeah, yeah.
probably give us, hey, here's this new icon that we're bringing to Dark Harbor and for its return. So definitely high expectations for that panel.
The best thing to do at these conventions, and I shouldn't say conventions, I should say convention because we only have one here
Right.
other than Monster Palooza, is create buzz for your event. No matter
Yes.
how big, no matter how small, creating buzz is the most important thing. And you touched up on it with Fright Fest last year. Even though everybody was in line for the Horror Nights panel, literally everybody in line was like, okay, I should have gone to the Fright Fest panel
Yeah.
because the amount of buzz surrounding the announcements there was crazy. So I definitely think making a name for yourself, not that these events already don't have names for themselves, but like for Castle Dark, who's first year having a panel, definitely making a name and being like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to get everyone excited about it. We're going to get everyone talking about it. And we're going to
Right.
reveal literally the biggest event of the summer for the haunt world.
Right. Right.
So, and I think that's what they'll do. But on top of that, we have a much more jam packed Sunday after
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And when I say jam pack, it's because there's an extra panel. So we have Not Scary Farm. Obviously, they revealed lots of stuff last year
Right.
for their 50th anniversary. We have the 13th Floor Entertainment Group, which will cover the LA Haunted Hayride, Delusion, and the Magic of the Jack O' Lanterns, which also, not that they're going to touch up on it, but 13th Floor Entertainment Group is also running Queen Mary's Dark Harbor.
Right.
Dark Harbor will have a separate panel, so I'm sure all the details will be in that. We also have the big one, the one that usually closes the show, Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. And then, of course, we have Winchester Mystery House, too, which also is another underrated place. And it looks like they're also getting ready for some big announcements as well, if they're having a presentation as well. What's your
Indeed.
overall thoughts on these four panels?
I mean, Sunday you got the heavy hitters.
Hmm.
It's going to be crazy. Always, the HHN panel is always, everyone's there. Everyone's excited to see. You kind of, not so much what you're going to get, but you have a certain kind of format of what,
Idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
an idea of what's going to be revealed. So it's just more like you were the excitement to be there, and typically Murdy doesn't really he gives us these like behind the scenes stuff of stuff we kind of already know is going to be there, and just like here's the
Right.
detail, here's this, here's that, and then we usually get one like kind of something we don't know. 13th floor, they always, with hayride and stuff like that, they always do a pretty good job of kind of hyping their events up, and so you kind of know what to expect. Knott's, last year, I will say, and this is nothing to say negative about any other the panels or anything like that, but Knott's last year, just for in my opinion, with the hype for their event, and just like
Right.
even
Right.
the person who was doing all their merchandise and the merch and everything, I was ready to go buy like stuff right there, just with, like how
Yeah,
hyped he was.
that was definitely like the merch
Oh,
panel for
for
sure.
for sure. So it was just
Yeah.
like it was really cool. I mean, these are the heavy hitters, and these are the
Yeah.
ones that like everyone's gonna go to. So there is Sundays where everyone's just gonna be like, it's gonna be crowded. Everyone's gonna want
Yeah.
to be in every panel. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
And I really hope that they do like Knott's in the morning, and then obviously typically Horror Nights is closest show for the past like
Right,
couple of
right.
years. So I hope that they do Knott's in the morning and they don't do Knott's and then Horror Nights right after, because
Yeah,
that's
give
ideally
us some
why they
time.
spread. Right, yeah, that's why they spread out the panels, is so that you can like plan your time accordingly while still
Right.
also having fun at the convention. So
Right.
hopefully everything's spread out accordingly. But you could check out all the times and everything with the Midsummer Scream app. The Midsummer Scream app is very helpful. It tells
Yes,
you
it
all the
is.
different
Yes, it is.
vendors, where they're located at, where the Hollow Shadow haunted houses are at, and of course the panel/presentations times as well. So if you don't already have the Midsummer Scream app, I don't know how much details are on there quite yet for this year. However, there will be tons of details once the convention actually is coming a little bit closer.
Yeah, well, that weekend, that app is like game changer. So I definitely download the app, and once the weekend gets closer, they'll start updating it and everything, and so you could just kind of refer to the app and plan your weekend accordingly.
Right, yeah. I mean, that one, like you said, it's a game changer, because if you're looking for a certain booth or something, like
Yeah.
they'll give it to you on there. If you are not too sure if you missed a certain Hall of Shadows haunted house, because sometimes they'll go on like lunch breaks and it's just all dark. So I've definitely missed many haunts before. If you want to make sure that you check out all of them, then that app is also helpful.
Yes.
And then obviously there's different stages where they do these panels at. They don't all do it in the main ballroom, so you want to know exactly that you're not going to the top part for the Fright Fest one. In reality, it's at the bottom one, because
Yeah.
then you're gonna miss it. So
Yeah.
definitely recommend the Midsummer Scream app for sure.
Yep.
But something that I feel like will also like, I feel like there will be like a booth or some kind of marketing push for it, is Beetlejuice, the brand new trailer, or the brand new movie. I'm sorry, a new trailer recently released, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I do think like they did do like a Saw kind of booth there, and they marketed Saw a lot. I feel like
Yes.
they'll kind of do the same with Beetlejuice.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see it being as I think it's coming out in September, so it'll be a couple months away. Haunt season
Right.
will be already kind of in effect. So that would be smart. I remember that the Saw, that kind of like that Saw little experience that they had there. That was pretty cool just to see all the stuff that they
Right.
had. So I think that'd be cool to have a little Beetlejuice area, and maybe some photo op kind of stuff there for it. That'd be cool.
Right, yeah, I will be like a huge fan of that if it happens, because like I'm a big Beetlejuice fan. Obviously, I got the freaking sand, wherever it's at, the sandworm on my arm.
Yep.
I'm just showing the bride right now, but I love Beetlejuice, and I cannot wait to see the movie. Which, like I said, there's a brand new trailer out.
Yes.
Rob, what are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts about it?
You know what? I liked it. Just the opening where Winona Ryder's kind of like narrating it, and then you will see it on the TV, and I think it was a good, solid. I mean, we had like a little teaser trailer before, but this was like the first official trailer. I thought it did its job. It got me.
Yeah.
It brought me back into the world of Beetlejuice. It reminded me of these characters, and we got some new characters, and just gave me the vibes of what I liked about the first Beetlejuice, and seeing Michael Keaton, man, seeing Michael Keaton,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
just just reminds me of
Seeing
it.
him back is
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
man.
it's so cool. It's so cool. Just reminds me of growing up and watching that movie, and just everything. I got the vibes. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Really
Yeah.
good, solid first trailer. They didn't. I mean, it's not like this is gonna be like, oh, we're gonna keep all these secrets or anything. But they didn't give us
Right,
too
right, right.
much. They didn't give us too much. They gave us an idea of the direction of the movie, and it was funny just how it kind of starts off where Jenna Ortega, her character is just kind of like being that stubborn little, how you would be like, oh, Beetlejuice, don't say it, oh,
I
Beetlejuice, yeah.
know.
So
That's kind of the plot of the movie. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that's the official plot. I think Bloody Disgusting posted about that, but like basically, her kid, Lydia's kid, is essentially like the stubborn, like I'm
yeah,
gonna sit because I don't believe you, and then
yeah,
that's how he gets really. It's
yeah. So that's
kind of
very cool,
corny,
very
but
cool.
it is what it is.
Oh no, I loved it because it fits and I know and I know what you mean. Corny doesn't always
Yeah,
mean bad. It
yeah, no.
fits the Beetlejuice vibe. So I was
Mhm.
all for it. What did you think
I,
of it?
I don't think that I've seen too much like hate on it. I think people have been like, "Oh, low expectations for it" or whatever,
Okay,
but I don't think
okay,
I've seen too much hate for it. For me, like I know it's gonna be corny. It's Beetlejuice. It has to be, and I think we talked about it. And the last time we talked about this on the podcast is like it has to be right. The first
right,
one was cheesy. It was
yeah,
corny. So I think that this one also has to be that. And from the trailer, it looks like right up my alley. Like
yeah,
you see all the different Beetlejuice like original sets and scenes and everything, all the throwbacks to the first film. So I think it's gonna be perfect. I even if it disappoints me, I feel like I'm still gonna leave the theater happy, unless they just like completely mess it up. But I mean, they've been doing tons of screenings for this movie. I mean, lots. I've been seeing lots of people seeing the screenings. They've all been saying it's really good already. So
that's
if people are
awesome.
enjoying the screenings, then that means that they must enjoy the final cut as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I just I think you're right. I don't think we're going to be disappointed. I think it's going to.
Hmm.
I think they know their audience. I mean,
Right.
and we're going to be there for it. So I don't think we're going to be
Hmm.
disappointed at all.
Yeah, and like, I mean, there's so much stuff hidden in that trailer that some people don't notice. Like, I was seeing people talk about, like, in the original film, when he's talking to Lydia about the ring finger when they're proposing and everything, how he
Right.
has the finger. I don't know if you've seen this theory, but in one of the scenes of the trailer, it looks like one of the characters has their ring finger cut off, and in the original movie you see him giving the finger to Lydia. So there's a little bit of like connection
Oh,
there.
okay, okay, okay.
There's different like Easter eggs and stuff that I notice about it, but the bottom line is like it looks so fun. It
Yeah,
really does look so fun. And everything leading up to September 6th, which is the official release date, like as far as them releasing promotional material and stuff, I'm gonna be a huge sucker about it. I'm gonna be so annoying leading up to this movie, and I'm gonna be so annoying once it comes out too. And
I
it's coming
expect
out
it. I
perfectly
expect
during
that,
haunt
Scott.
season. The good. I'm glad. I'm glad you expect that. Dude, it's like Beetlejuice is just one of my all-time favorite movies. Like I've actually considered getting another tattoo on it, but I'm like, no, I gotta save my arm for other stuff. but but yeah, I really cannot wait. Like it's one of those things that has such a special place in my heart, and I
Okay.
can't wait to see it. Especially the little posters that they release, like
Oh, those are
Michael
cool.
Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton like brings Beetlejuice to life so well. Like he, like not to sound like a jerk, he looks like an idiot, and that's what he's supposed to.
He's
That's what he's
supposed to
supposed to
be though.
do.
That's what he is in the
Yeah, I
movie.
know. It's incredible, man. Like you always think like all these years like will he still have that same Beetlejuice charm or whatever? And he does. In the
Yeah.
trailer you can tell, and in those promotional materials you can tell he does.
Yeah,
For me it's
I'm
like
excited. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
yeah. For me it's like seeing like Beetlejuice in the parks is like always like, oh, that's like they do a really good job. Like that's Michael Keaton right there. So now seeing it in a trailer is amazing.
Yeah.
But all right, well, speaking of the parks, we do have some kind of last news to wrap up with. So I do want to preference this by saying, as of the time of this recording, which is Friday, May 24th, there is no Hollywood Horror Nights announcement. So
There's
if
not.
we miss anything, there's no Hollywood Horror Nights announcement. There may or may not be one next week. And the reason why I say that is because Orlando announced all their originals. So we'll see. But right now, if we are talking in the past tense, you know why. we're gonna we're gonna kind of brief over the Orlando announcements that got released this past week. They literally did an announcement every single day,
They
which
did.
featured all originals. So I'm gonna quickly run through them, and then Rob, I want to get your kind of general thoughts on them
Okay,
real quick.
let's do this.
So first and foremost, and I don't think this is going to be. Oh no, it may. So on Sunday they announced Slaughter Cinema 2, and
Okay,
then I think that they followed up with Goblin's Feast,
right.
which was then followed up by Major Sweet's Candy Factory, which was then followed up by the Museum Deadly Exhibits, which then yesterday we got the announcement of Monstros, the Monsters of Latin America, making its way over to Orlando. And then we have today, as we're filming this, Triplets of Terror. So 6 original haunted houses coming to Orlando this year.
Yeah, that's a lot. You know what? And obviously, I've never been to Orlando. It's cool to watch, our buddies, who go and kind of cover the event. I typically, kind of, even when you go over there, watch your guys' stuff, and the event looks cool. There, Orlando's just a whole other beast when it comes to Horror Nights and their originals.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these look pretty cool. I'm
Right.
all I'm a fan. I'm a fan of originals, and the creativity and just like the icons they have over there in Orlando is really cool. I not that I wish we had that, because I love our Horror Nights. We're very kind of, I would say, obviously movie IP based Horror Nights, and
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to sprinkle in those originals, and even like getting some from the East Coast, like with what was it, Scarecrow, when we got, was that last year or the year before?
2022, I believe.
2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
So very cool, but it's cool to see all these announcements coming out of Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're waiting, we're fingers crossed, hoping we get some announcements over here on the West Coast, but I'm excited for you East Coasters and the people who are going to go over there. It looks like the lineup, what you guys have over there so far, looks pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not a heavy Orlando guy, so I don't know how they feel about it. But for me, just off of looking, it's exciting, and it looks all these houses that they're announcing. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Like Slaughter Cinema. I mean, I'm a movie guy, so like that, just like that. I'm like, okay, what are they gonna do with that?
See, with me, I've been now a couple years to HH in Orlando. I didn't go
Okay.
last year. For me, it's not a huge priority for me to go. I know everybody talks about set design and everything, and their set design is unmatched. For me, though, I love my Hollywood IPs. Like, the originals are cool and everything, but, like we talked about last podcast, like, I'm very happy with the California haunts that we
Yeah.
have. However, I will say there is definitely times in my head where I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll visit this year. Like this year, like I may try to go out there and visit. It's
Okay.
not like a huge priority, like I said to me, because I've been enough times to be like, okay, I'm happy with Hollywood. And I was talking to Gabe from Theme Park Do about this. Like he's like, yeah, he's like, it's different with you because like you are happy or satisfied, And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
Whereas people who haven't been, like obviously want that. So I think it all just compares differently to everybody's wants, which is fine. But for me, like this lineup is interesting to me. I
Okay.
really am excited to see what they do with Slaughter Cinema 2, because Slaughter Cinema 1 was a huge hit. And yeah, with the movies and everything, it's amazing how they do it. I mean, they've done like spin-offs from like different stories in Slaughter Cinema into like full-length houses and Sierra Zones, which I think is pretty unique. So I'm
Okay.
really interested to see how Cinema 2 goes there, and I hope one day that Hollywood gets Slaughter Cinema as well, because we obviously have Not Scare Farm, who did why am I blanking right
Cinema
now?
slasher.
Cinema Slasher. I didn't want to get the name wrong, but and that was amazing because like the movies and like kind of campy movies and everything. That's
Right.
kind of the same idea with Slaughter Cinema. So I hope one day that Hollywood kind of does that same vibe. I know Marty would do it great. Then you also have Goblin's Feast. Goblin's Feast looks a little bit more like cartoony, if you
Okay.
will. However,
Yeah.
it has potential, I feel like, to be super demonic and like sadistic if it's pulled off right.
Okay.
Major Sweets Candy Factory was a great scare zone. I think that'll be more so like the fun house, if you will, not too scary really. And then you have Monsters, the Monsters of Latin America, which I mean, if they're shipping a lot of stuff from Hollywood over to Orlando, and Orlando just basically does like a plug and place, then honestly, good on Orlando because Monsters last year in Hollywood was incredible, and
Yes,
I
it was.
cannot wait for all my Orlando fans and all my Orlando friends to be able to see it and experience it because it was incredible for sure. What else do we have? We have what's the one that
The
Museum Deadly Exhibits.
Yeah.
Museum Deadly Exhibits. I think that has huge Pandora's box written all over it. To be
Okay.
honest,
Okay.
I feel like that's a fair comparison to make. A little bit different of a story, but I feel like the vibes are kind of the same. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm curious to see like what characters we see in there because when I think of a museum, I think of like mummies and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, am I wrong here? Like,
No,
are you
I
kind of
mean,
picking
no,
up
no,
on the
no.
same vibe?
I definitely, I feel the same way. I mean, you mentioned Pandora's box, but I
Yeah,
think, and
which
I,
isn't a fair comparison, but that's what it
well,
screams to me.
here's the thing. You say Pandora's box, and I think you know that it's like that opening room over here where that Pandora, where it's like it had all the artifacts and stuff. And
Exactly,
really not going to go into like
exactly.
the gods or anything like that. And I'm thinking
Yeah,
when you say Pandora's box, I'm also thinking, and maybe again, to a certain extent, the example, like The Conjuring. More so the Warrens, like how they have their room. So maybe like
okay,
just a museum of like possessed things or just demonic things or just kind of different kind of this artifact here, this artifact there. So I that at least for me when I seen it and I kind of read whatever it was just like, oh, okay, like that's where my mind went, like okay, like the
okay.
Warrens, all this artifacts they have, or Pandora's box like you're mentioning. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, like that room you walk in where it's got all these different things, because Pandora's box is pretty much like this artifact,
Right.
this thing that was
That
kept
you
put
open,
away,
you
yeah, and you
travel
open,
into.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like no, you're going. I'm right there with you. Just I used The Conjuring.
Yeah, yeah. Watch out, Orlando. Pandora's box Easter egg coming soon to your event.
we called it right here.
All right, but then we have the latest announcement, which today, as we were filming this, is Triplets of Terror. Now, the big reason why I want to put a huge emphasis on this is because from the key art, it looks a lot different compared to everything else. It's a very basic logo compared to
Okay.
everything else. And I feel like, because to me, this screams like Hollywood Scare Zone announcement, like that's exactly what it looks like.
Okay.
I feel like some IP got dropped or something that caused this to, like, this doesn't seem like a
Okay.
planned original. This seems like a
Okay.
last minute thing.
I mean, I'm gonna have to defer to you to this because, I'm gonna toot your horn a little bit. You kind of, I mean, you notice stuff like this. You like how you're
Yeah.
saying, you're just the art and how it's stands out, and you kind of pointed that out to me. So,
Yeah.
it for based off what I saw, it looked pretty cool. But the fact that you're saying, who knows, and we may never find out if that's true or not. But
Right.
I'm gonna refer to you when it comes to this, Scott, because you're the
Yeah,
man.
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to say a definite,
Right,
But
right.
if you compare it to the rest of them, like it doesn't look like it was planned, nor does it really fit the vibe, if
Yeah.
you will. And I may be psycho, and I may just be reading too much into it,
What
but
I mean, you are psycho, but that doesn't mean you're reading too much into it.
exactly, if you're not a little bit psycho,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be a horror fan.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know. I mean,
Uh,
like I'm
yeah,
looking at it, and it is 100% like you're saying. It's different. It's got a different vibe to it than all the other
what's
ones.
interesting is they put the characters on there.
Yeah. So I
But
don't know. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I don't know. It's just this looks. I like it. It looks cool. I don't
It's
know.
interesting.
I don't know what. Like, I mean, I don't know what it's gonna be. It looks like some kind of demented bunnies or.
It's supposed to be like a birthday party.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
which you can see like on one of the guys' mask. It's like a half paper plate,
There you
which is
go.
very
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe he was eating some carne asada that he didn't like or something, and he's like,
Probably.
I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
everybody
Some
now.
bad asada. Bad asada. I
Yeah,
understand that. I get that.
some bad asada, and he just decided to go on a rampage of killing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's the backstory of this. He ate some bad asada, and now everyone's got to die.
You heard it here first. That was HHN Orlando's inspiration behind this haunted house. Don't call it a comeback, guys.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. But I think Rob and I are Jesus.
Freaking Scott.
Anyways, Triplets of Terror, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But the reason why I talk about it could be replacing IP is could that be the scenario with Hollywood? And if so, I'm kind of worried. Also, not at the same time, we've seen great replacements before.
Yeah.
Like it's evident that Evil Dead was supposed to come in 2022,
Right,
Because Horror Hotel and Evil Dead were copy and paste.
Yes, yes.
But Horror Hotel was a last minute replacement, and honestly, it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good.
We've seen good replacements before. If it is the case, then who knows? Maybe we'll get a good replacement too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, if it is a replacement, not whatever the case may be, here in Hollywood, when stuff like that has happened, they've done more positive than I could say negative. So, I have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time finding something that's going to be like, where it's going to get me like, oh man, I'm worried about the event. So I'm pretty even kill.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I feel like with me, no matter what Hollywood announces next week or the week after or the week after that, I'm going to be happy.
Oh, yeah, for
honestly,
sure.
like, I've learned to be patient with announcement season, especially, I mean, COVID really put me in the perspective, like, at least we have something.
Yes.
And I feel like, for me, it's like, whatever they announce, I'll be happy. Really. That's really what it comes down to. Unless they announce, like, freaking Michael Myers is coming back for the 80th year in a row.
Well, this is Michael Myers, but...
Those words are gonna eat me. Watch Halloween be coming back.
Don't you do? Yeah, man, you ruined it now, Scott. Jeez.
Breaking news: Halloween 4 is coming back.
You know what? I'll take Halloween 3. I will take Halloween 3.
I will take Halloween 3 too.
I'll take Halloween
Please.
3.
It'll never happen, but I'll take it.
It almost happened. It
did almost happen. But anyways, that's really gonna do it for our show today. Rob, you got anything else to say? Any horror news that we missed?
You know what? One thing, I'll be quick about it. I don't know if you saw it or not. I saw The Strangers. Was it chapter 1?
Oh, yes, The Strangers, yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to...
I think I'm going to watch it next Tuesday. I was supposed to watch it this week, but I had some stuff I had to attend to.
Just quick thoughts on it, just because it came out last week. I did like it. I kind of gave it, when I first came out of the theater, I kind of gave it a lower score. And I'll say this, one thing that kind of confused me is it's not a prequel. It's kind of like a whole new.
They're restarting the story.
Yeah, they're restart. Yes, they're restarting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, so I thought it was gonna be like kind of a prequel, but it's definitely not a prequel because they have all kinds of new technology in there. But, and taking that in and kind of looking at the movie as a Strangers fan from the first one, I was okay with the movie. I was just like, it's okay. But as a horror movie fan, and I think horror movie fans going into this, I think it's really enjoyable. There's a lot of scary movie or horror movie tropes in the movie, but there's a reason why, those tropes are in horror movies or why they have them, because they kind of fit a format of a horror movie. So overall,
right.
As a Strangers fan, and that's why I kind of like, okay, let me take these two minds and think about this. As a Strangers fan, I was like, it's okay. But as a horror movie fan, I think it's really enjoyable. So, there's good kills. In all scary movies, there's some dumb moments, but, that's all horror movies. But overall, I had an enjoyable time watching this movie. It always sounds weird when you say, I enjoyed my time watching horror movies, but
And right.
Yeah, but so if you're a horror movie fan, I definitely think checking it out. It's entertaining. At the very least, I think you'll go in there and have a decent time. At least in my opinion, I'd say just check it out.
I think that the most interesting thing to me is that they uh, started over the storyline, which is
Yeah.
like I knew, so like I'm hoping to go in there
Okay.
enjoy it a little bit more knowing that. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely like you said, if you didn't know that before, then you'd be like, oh, what?
Yeah, yeah. So and that's kind
So
of like that's why I had to like I came out and I was like, but then as I do, I'm like, all right, let me think about it, and I was like, okay, you know what? It wasn't.
you're rational about
Yeah, yeah. It
things.
wasn't as bad. Once I realized what it was, I wasn't as bad as I thought it was, and I'd say it's a middle of the road horror movie, but I 100% say if you're a fan of horror, just check it out. You might like it.
For sure. All right, everybody, but that's going to do it for our show today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you
Yes.
do, please hit that subscribe button to both our channels, Exploring Attractions and The Howling Hour,
Oh.
and follow us on our Haunt Talk
Yes.
social media page on Instagram for more clips and random horror news that we can't really spend a lot of topic on in a show, but we definitely post about it on
Yeah.
our Instagram. So make sure to follow everything down below in the description.
For sure.
But as always, I enjoyed the show today.
Always.
I enjoyed
Always.
talking to you lovely people. Rob and I are now going to rant for 30 minutes after the show.
Yeah.
And my name has been Scott,
And I'm Rob.
and you've been watching Haunt Talk, the podcast where we talk about all things haunt. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.